feel right at home on a day where your only job is to relax. Make a weekend out of your trip to one of Melbourne's fastest growing regions in Baw Baw Shire with a day at the races followed by a round of golf, or visit one of the beautiful local wineries nearby. The DMD Nil Cup meeting has been rescheduled from Boxing Day and will now take place on Sunday the 29th of December. From the moment you arrive on course, you'll feel the warmth and charm of the Nil and District Racing Club and experience firsthand good old-fashioned country racing hospitality in the Mallee region. Henry Dwyer will aim his charge, Pittsburgh Pirate, at his third consecutive Country Cup and is the one they'll all have to beat in the feature event. Whether you're looking to extend the Christmas festivities or to spend an afternoon with family and friends, we have something to suit everyone, with meetings at Woolamai and Kerrang on Saturday, as well as Seymour, Stony Creek, Echuca and Warrnambool in the lead up to the new year. Country racing is as real as it gets this summer. For more information, visit country.racing.com.
The Southern Hemisphere's best yearlings at Australia's holiday playground. The 2025 Magic Millions Gold Coast Yearling Sale, January 7 to 13. The Gold Coast Yearling Sale not only leads the way for individual Group 1 winners sold since 2019, more than double any other Australian yearling sale. They've also won 3 times more Group 1s, with recent graduates including Spring Stars, Private Life, Southport Tycoon, Steffi Magnetica and Knight's Choice. It's the sale with more opportunities to find more champions. See the catalogue at magicmillions.com.au.
Feel the adrenaline as the action heats up on harness racing tracks every week in Victoria. Witness the thrill as drivers and horses push their limits, chasing glory in every heart-stopping moment. It's not just a race, it's a battle of speed, strategy and raw power. Get trackside or watch live and free on Sky Racing and Trots Vision. For tips, visit Goodform at thetrots.com.au. Watch the action, embrace the victory.
RSN Racing and Sport. Traffic info.
Good morning. Look out for a truck fire in Packy South this morning. That's Killy-Rap Road, just north of Bellato Road. Elsewhere, there's been tree works in Belgrave South. That's a Wellington Road westbound just after Belgrave Hallam Road. And a reminder of works in Carrum Downs. They've got Bellato Road closed eastbound at Frankston Dandenong Road and again at the Western Port Highway. Get 40% off at Bonds. Stock up on your faves with 40% off in-store and online now. Terms, conditions and some exclusions apply. Visit bonds.com.au for full details. And that's the latest RSN Racing and Sport traffic.
On RSN Racing and Sport, it's time for the grey areas with Jason Adams and George Ferrugia.
That kid was a human dynamo.
Are you sure you're talking about George?
George of the jungle, friend to you and me.
Yes, it is true. Christmas is big enough to stop the momentum of grey areas on a Wednesday afternoon. It is Tuesday and it is time to talk all things greyhound racing after what was a massive night at the Meadows last Saturday with the running of the Phoenix. My name's Jason Adams. As always, I'm joined by the best looking used car salesman in Australia, particularly now with his shaved head. George Ferrugia, welcome in.
I think it suits me. Good afternoon, Jace.
I'm just not used to it, mate. I'm just not used to it.
Mate, and I took my 2 sons, and when I got home, Cheryl was not happy.
So it's a summer haircut, and as soon as you've done it, it's 18 degrees and raining.
She said, it's okay. You do it. You do what the hell you want, she said, but for my 2 boys, you're not doing that again. I think it suits them too, but I haven't got her over the line yet. So we'll see what happens.
Who did it? Where'd you go for it?
Oh, I just went to my usual place, and I said, just 3 number 1s, thanks. That was perfect. It certainly, I think, out of the 3 of them, my youngest, he's got sort of thin hair, and he looks like something out of a Charles Dickens book. But Oliver, wasn't it? He looks like something from Oliver Twist. But it'll grow back, Jace.
Yeah,
so
you've got longer hair in your chin than what you do on the top of your scone at the moment.
We're going all right, mate.
All right, as I said, big night at the Meadows on Saturday night with the running of the Phoenix, won by the mighty Explicit, and this is exactly the way he handled business.
Racing, Scalacci jumped well. Dacey's Rory's got really good speed. Scalacci hustling through. Sunset Fraser badly checked. Big Energy and Excavation. And Explicit raced around the outside and took the lead. Explicit goes to the back clear on Dacey's Rory. Up to third was Smooth Plain. Sunset Fraser was next. Then came Explicit. Lakeview Emily's well back. Excavation and Big Energy. But around the turn comes Explicit. Blizzard. He's 4 lengths in front, and the best greyhound in Australia wins the world's richest race. He wins by 3 lengths over Smooth Plain, and DC's Rory's run out of its skin to run third.
He was so good, George. And I guess when we wind back the clock almost 10 years, Fernando Bale didn't get the swan song that was planned for him, winning the Melbourne Cup and then retiring the stud. But for Explicit, this would have to be the best ending to a racing career of all time. Your last 2 starts, winning a Melbourne Cup and then winning a Phoenix.
You've taken the words out of my mouth. I thought about that for the last couple of days. I don't think you can ever get a better ending to a race career. It was unbelievable, especially with the way the Top Gun was run. Again, you really got to put a shout out to Jason Thompson going for that box 8. And we spoke about it. And look, we put our hands up when we get things wrong, Jace. Sometimes we tip greyhounds and the races don't turn out as we expect. But we did say on Friday that box 8 was going to give him probably that extra couple of strides to keep out of trouble. And things happen in races that are unexpected. Dacey's jumping so well, and that little jumble up there, and he was just able, and he didn't begin all that well, Explicit, but again, he just had the room to move early, and I think that was in the mindset of what Jason was thinking. And then he's able to showcase what he does best, and that's to accelerate through a corner. What a way to go to stud. Incredible scenes, fantastic last couple of months of the year for Jason Thompson and the family. I mean, they pretty much won everything. And they go in to 2025 without Explicit, but with still an unbelievable team of greyhounds.
Still half a dozen dogs that could be in the same conversation.
Oh, absolutely. So I know we'll speak about a few others, but I think it was a fitting result at the end.
Where does he stack up? I mean, 2024 for Explicit has been enormous. Well, where does he fit in? We always have these conversations when stars come and go. Is he in sort of the top 5 over the past 10 years into that sort of category?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but he's had as I said, an unbelievable finish. I still think, your Fernandos and these are at a different level, but look, he's broken 29 at Sandown. Amazing speed. Look, he's an absolute star, no doubt about that. Yeah, I'd have to have a proper think about that, Jace. But look, he'd be in the conversation.
It only would have taken one of those big races that he missed out on throughout the middle part of the year to sort of catapult him to that sort of level.
Isn't it incredible to think that he started favourite in the $1 Million Chase? If he happened to win that, he would have won $3 million in prize money, which is unbelievable, really, isn't it? So, now look, a really unbelievable way to finish. I don't know how you found the night. We're going to speak about it, Jason. I can't remember the last time I've had that much fun on a greyhound track. Honestly, it was brilliant. We were upstairs with Ladbrokes. Was speaking to we had over 100 people there. Jace was speaking to people who aren't.
What sort of people?
That's the beauty of it. There was such a cross section of people that aren't necessarily greyhound people. They were horse people. There was harness people there, but they had an absolute ball, and not just because the beers were flowing. They wanted to ask questions about greyhound racing, and I love that part of the sport. I went up to pretty much every table just to speak about whatever they needed to speak about in terms of greyhound racing, and I had an absolute ball. I think Ladbrokes did it well. Obviously, Sportsbet do the same thing downstairs in the decking, and a couple of the other slot holders across the 4 years that we've had it have been able to do that too. So to get people involved, the night was buzzing. Upstairs was crazy. Went downstairs for a little bit. It was fantastic too. I know you spent most of the night down there, and it was just a great night.
Crowd was strong. Turnover is a really positive result, not at the heights of sort of Melbourne Cup final night, but still very positive. And I think, George, this is the most talked about events and race in greyhound racing at the moment, but I think its real value, which is intangible in a lot of ways, is exactly what you speak about, crossing over to areas and groups of people that wouldn't necessarily expose themselves to greyhound racing day to day. So,
and unless they're lying
for the game,
unless they're lying to us, as in regards to the Ladbrokes customers, they are going to have very positive things to say about greyhound racing for the night. They absolutely loved it. And I'm not just singling out Ladbrokes. There was the marquee, the terraces on the side were packed when I had a look out. It was absolutely fantastic. So it can only be a good thing for the sport. So yeah, it was great.
One thing I thought that was a little bit I can't think of the words for it, but I sort of felt like the first half of the card and the quality of that didn't match the events. I mean, personally, trying to be up and about and speak to participants, I just thought that first half of the card was a bit thin. So I don't know what the answer is. And I mean, I have spoken to Corey Smith about this over the past few days, and whether it means the Silver Chief takes another move and maybe possibly have the heats on that night. I mean, I feel like a night of that significance just needs a bit more meat through the bulk of the card.
Yeah, like was the Silver Chief moved so there was still an opportunity for a Silver Chief winner to get into the Phoenix? Is that what was, I
don't think that was the number one purpose, but at least separating it and giving the Silver Chief that it deserves.
It felt like the Silver Chief was great on Phoenix night last year too. I thought that worked as well last year. But let's talk about that match race too, Jason. I mean, let's be honest. This is why we miss, you and I know personally miss the Speedstar so much. And I know that there has been some financial restraints, but we had match races on. Not all of them have been great, but we've had match races on Country Cup nights, which I thought were great. But that was one, apart from the Phoenix, that was the highlight of the night. That race changed complexion about 3 times, and there was only 2 dogs in it. I was watching upstairs, and there was, 100 metres where you said, Phil Day's won this. He's got him. And then for Tim Zhu to come back again, that was an unbelievable
His efforts to hook around Tim Zhu and take over down the back. I mean, I know Tim Zhu's not an out-and-out high-speed sprinter through that part of the track, but by himself, he's so fast. So for Field Day to take over and they had the ding-dong battle they had in the run to the line was
great, wasn't it?
It was iconic. It was special.
And we spoke about how Tim Zhu refuses to give the fence up. He did not move. And that's what won him the race again, because he was able to hook in and win the race. The disappointment for us, we had a punters club upstairs and you and I both tipped him, was Grand Tourer. I mean, down the back, Jace, we were seriously ready to pour Gatorade over our heads because that was the bulk of our bet. And to see him break down was not great because I just thought he was immoral in that race. And when he lobbed where he did, I thought it was game, set, and match. So, but in terms of the early. The early program, you're probably right. Maybe another couple of features or something, if we can sort of hook it in, would have been great. But because you feel like Melbourne Cup has got the Cup Night Sprint and the Cup Night Stayers, and there's a little bit more happening, isn't there?
Yeah, the program forces good greyhounds to still be out and about. I think Australian Cup Night's quite similar in that way. But I mean, we'll speak about sales shortly. But going through that card as well, I mean, we've got debutants going around in the first few races. I just don't feel. I know the card. You need to demand nominations to fill a full program on such a marquee night.
Yeah.
But I just feel whatever you're filling it with has to match the occasion and sort of bring everyone up to the same level as what the main event is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But apart from that, what a night.
Easy.
Again, congratulations to the Meadows. Their staff.
They've been enormous.
And look, I've never been to an Irish Derby. We've spoken to people that have. Those crowds are iconic because the Irish Derby and the roar of the crowd. So I'm not going to compare the two. But what I love about the Meadows is that every little part of that track, there was something happening. There's food trucks. There's TV set up where you're not missing anything. I just think the Meadows do an unbelievable job.
Yeah, and I think celebrating the fabric of the sport and the event as well. I don't know if you saw it walking in, George, but there's now 3 huge banners on the side of the grandstand. Wow, she's fast. Wow, she's fast. And also Scalacci. I don't think we do a good enough job of doing that. Say the equivalent of last year's premiers being plastered everywhere in the build-up to next year's grand final, something like that.
And just quickly on Scalacci.
Do those things really well.
Again, Talgi bringing the dog upstairs. People got to meet the dog. And it's funny, again, we talk about people who aren't greyhound people still loving the fact that it's something that they don't usually get to see. They don't get to see a greyhound. He just unfortunately got smashed by Sunset Fraser. Was going to run in the top 3. Got no doubt about that. Really got into trouble on that first corner. He kept chasing really hard. He had a blowout. He came upstairs and he was absolutely fine. It was fantastic for people to come and pat the dog, take photos. Again, thank you for Tells You for doing that. It was great.
And before we move on, Smooth Plane. Enormous.
Nearly got my Christmas T-shirt done. You know what? And greyhound people actually made a point of that. Apart from Explicit, who was unbelievable. Everyone wanted to talk about Smooth playing. I don't know if people did that with you as well. They really wanted to talk about his run. He's just a chaser, Jace, isn't he? And he's just gone to another level, as we mentioned in the last couple of starts.
Yep. All right, so we build up to the Sale Cup on Boxing Day nights, and a pretty good field there, George, and the market completely dominated by Kenya All Class, breaking the record last week, and it would be one thing if he did that, clear air, go to the top and do his own thing. He had to work pretty hard early.
Yeah, he did. He didn't begin all that cleanly. His first split of 6.18 was probably on one of the slower ones, but not too far away from some of the other greyhounds. So that just shows how quick the dog is. His acceleration was great through that first corner and then just blew everyone away. They were all running around the 36 4s and 5s mark, Jace, and then he comes out and runs 36.19. Yeah, look, bad luck, only bad. If he begins better, and we know he can sometimes, I can understand why he was $2 into about $1.60.
And on a personal front, you've got Groovebird in this final from the pink.
Yeah, look, I mean, she's long odds, but I'm really proud of the fact that she's made 3 Group 1 finals, and yeah, I own her with a few boys, and they're absolutely wrapped. They're even looking to make the trek down the highway. So we were talking about the weather, Jace. When we checked last week, it was scheduled for 40 degrees. It's dropped to 37 now for sale. So I'm not sure when a decision will be made. I'm not sure if you've heard anything about that in regards to GRV. The first race, I think, is on, about 6:30-ish. So will it be cool enough to have the meeting? Hopefully.
Oh, the message internally yesterday was as is, but they're going to reassess.
Okay.
Tomorrow, we'll wait and find out. But it's going to be a great contest. And one greyhound who's at relatively long odds and jumps from an awkward draw, but from what I understand is a great story behind her, is number 6, Raya Star. Her trainer is Lisa Helmuth, and she joins us this afternoon on Grey Areas. Lisa, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you going?
I'm well. Now, this could be terrible radio or it could be fantastic. I've got some information secondhand about the nomination of this girl for her heat of the Sale Cup. Now, you talk me through this. What's the background behind it and how she ended up going around and winning a heat last Friday night?
So, Keith never really thought that she was going to be any superstar. He just thought she was only going to be very average, and probably early on in her career she wasn't that quick, but she never really begun that well over the 500, and we never had any luck over the 600 because she kept getting into trouble at the start. So we thought we'd step her up, and she seems to be getting better and better, but he still doesn't think she's that little superstar. So when it came to the Sale Cup heats and I wanted to put her in, he decided that she wasn't good enough to put in, so I put her in anyway. And hence she's now in the final.
Lisa, that is the best story. I love that. That's like somebody buying more expensive Christmas presents and not showing the receipt to their hubby. But you've done it in such a way, and look, it's paid off. I mean, 6:08 early. That's the key, isn't it, Lisa? I mean, that first split was good, and she held off some good greyhounds. Succeed down the back. It was a ding dong battle, but you got to be proud of her.
Yeah. Looking at the field, and I thought that she might come in the first 4. I didn't think she'd win it, but I thought, she might come a place. So I was quite shocked when she won it because, she was up against the likes of Drill Sergeant, Ethanol Volume, Succeed, Passmark, and I thought if she could get out, because she can begin over the 640s, she might get herself in front. And look, she's pretty gutsy. She doesn't like to give up. Probably her flat spots down the back, but she's got a really good run home. So I was hoping that she'd get out in front enough to get round that final turn. And I know that she does run a good run home, so Succeed never got to pass her in the end. So, yeah, it was good.
Hey, Lisa, before we let you go and as we build up to Christmas Day tomorrow, what is the atmosphere like at home with yourself and Keith after the nomination and then her getting herself through to the final?
Oh, don't worry. With the box draw, we've had to pull cups up or hats off. And every time I do it, I get a really bad box because Peter Rocket drew box 6 and that was my fault. So then whenever he draws, he has to pick, he always gets box 2. So I said, I'll do the swab. You go and pick the box because you're going to give us a good box. And I was horrified to see in the kennel block that he'd picked box 6. So we've been studying every dog in that field to see what they do when they jump.
Lisa, he's had a shocking couple of days. This is going to be like Christmas at the Gambino family between you two.
Are you going to tell him to stay home on race day?
No, he can come. I suppose he can come. He's not handling, though. She seems to go good for me. She doesn't go good for him.
Hey, Lisa, you sound thrilled about the situation, but in all seriousness,
absolutely.
Best of luck with Raya Star at the Sale Cup on Thursday night. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Lisa Helmuth there, the trainer of Raya Star. Great story, Georgie.
What a story, yeah. Did the nomination behind his back, and she's in a Sale Cup final, running one of the better first splits in the race. And look, she'll let him know she's there, box 6 in the final. But I'm sure you're with Kenya All Class, Jace.
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm going to tip Zipping Kai. I'll be there at Sale on Cup 9. I think Trooper Tears will give her room. Kenya All Class, based on last week's, not going to begin awfully well. Black Silence is not going to begin well. So I think she'll go to the front. And from what she did in her start prior to that Sale Cup heat, I think she can run a genuine competitive time. So particularly at the price.
And already a Group 1 winner.
Yeah, indeed she is, having won the Hume Cup not too long ago. Who do you think's going to win?
Yeah, look, I just think that Kenya All Class will begin a little bit better this week, and then probably Class will prevail down the back. We've got a SMS that come through. Jason George, so good to listen to you now and reflect on Saturday. I'm all-out horse racing man and only dabbled here and there in the dogs occasionally, but the build-up to the Phoenix and on the TV, so it was great. So thank you, Liam, for that. It just backs up what we were talking about. You guys did a fantastic job on racing.com, Jace, not just on Saturday, but for the weeks that you did it. I think it was very, very well handled, mate, so congrats about that.
Immensely appreciated. In the second half of that message, would love to see racing.com utilise more for nights like this. That's fact, and everyone says that. However, there is financial realities that it does cost a bit to put these events on the big stage.
Well, to pay Jason Adams, I mean, that just blows budgets everywhere we go.
Let me tell you.
But let's, again, just quickly, can we bring the Speedstar back at some stage, Chase? Look, I don't know where it's at. I don't know if there's any hurdles, but everybody loved that match race. Everybody loved that match race. So if we can bring them back in some sort of shape or form, I know maybe not to the level that the Speedstar was the whole meeting, but if we can do it, Jace, I just think it's a boon for the industry.
Well, I think where there's a will, there's a way. So it's probably up to the two metropolitan clubs to initiate it and then get it moving. Because, yes, for it to work, the prize money needs to be lucrative enough that you do get the good dogs there. Because if they're not there, that format of racing doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you've got the prize money that would typically be set aside for a city meeting, of which you can use, but it's still not enough to make it work. So there needs to be some mayonnaise on top, and it's up to the two city clubs to initiate that.
Yeah, hopefully that's
all right. I don't have near enough time to get into what I want to get into now. So what I've looked forward to all week, George, and I wanted to have a bit more fun and have a laugh on this Christmas Eve edition of Grey Areas, and looking at your scone as you walked in the door, that was enough for me to crack a smile. But I want to know a bit more about you.
Oh, no.
I've got about, I don't know how many questions. There is heaps. They're all relatively quick fire.
Good.
So let's charge through them. Craig, what time do we need to be off? 35. We've got plenty of time.
Oh, no.
I'm licking my lips. All right, you ready to roll, Georgie?
Okay.
Brett Lee or Fernando Bale?
Brett Lee.
As a sire, Barcia Bale or Fernando Bale?
Barcia Bale.
A litter of 13 or 6?
6.
Would you breed with a sister of a champion even if she was as fast as you?
No.
Do you know what a 9 data is?
Yeah, it's a double 30, double 30,
Oh,
double 12. Is
we'll
that
move
right?
on.
Triple 30.
Don't
triple
make
30.
me sick. We'll move on. Would you rather win a Melbourne Cup or have free reign at a Super Bowl?
Win a Melbourne Cup.
Morty Seinfeld or Frank Costanza?
Frank Costanza by far.
Barbecue shapes or chicken chips?
Barbecue shapes, mate.
Gray Nichols or Kookaburra?
Kookaburra, mate.
Sharon or Ross Faulkner?
Sharon all the way.
Good, or you'd be out of the studio. How old is too old to wear a footy jumper to a game?
45 is the cut.
45. You've done the form. What's your worst habit?
Eating too much pizza.
Worst habit of your wife?
Even if we go to a hotel room, she wants to make the bed. Just let the maid do it. Silly from her.
Worst habit of your kids?
They're too argumentative.
Your ideal Christmas present?
Probably a Dan Murphy's voucher.
Is it appropriate to have a goldfish as a pet?
Nah, throw it down the toilet.
Your favourite pub meal?
Steak and chips, mate.
The Royal Standard or the Moonee Ponds Club?
The Royal Standard.
Would you
Great
rather
pub.
bet on reality TV or the weather?
The weather. Reality TV. God, strike me no.
What reality TV show do you think you can win?
Well, I couldn't win Love Island. Is that a TV show? Yeah. Because you got to get the rig out, and I haven't had a six-pack in my life.
And a good haircut.
I'm not even going to say The Block because I struggled to change a light bulb.
And not The Voice either?
No, definitely not The Voice.
What's your most unfortunate or unlucky punting story?
I've thought about this one, mate.
This is the only one I gave you notice on, by the way.
Yeah, one day I had two greyhound tips. One of them paid $6.50 and the other one paid $3, and I put it in a leg with an NBA game where they needed to win by over 8.5. They were 6 points up and hit a 3 to lead by 9, and I've jumped around like crazy, and then they reviewed it and his foot was on the line, so they only won by 8. I was going to win $4,000, and Cheryl makes a mean chicken schnitzel, and I felt that sick. I just couldn't eat it. That was.
And the other dogs got up.
That was a tough beat. And I'll tell you what, trying to navigate through the Ladbrokes lounge after Grand Tour got beat wasn't easy either.
And Hector Fawley gave you some pain too.
Yeah, and then we Hector Fawley getting run down.
You didn't back Aston Figaro as well, did you?
No. My friend of mine did, and bet it with a certain company that didn't refund his money. So
for those out there, went straight to the front and it was a no race.
He wasn't too happy. Just quickly, Hector Fawley's retired now, I see.
Is he?
I think so. Yeah,
Yes,
I think I've seen something on social media that he's retired. So to get two sons of Bernardo, we have enjoyed the hell out of watching Explicit and Hector Fawley. Maybe I'm jumping the gun there, but I'm pretty sure I've seen that he's retired.
All right, well, you've done well to steer the ship in another direction here from what our agenda looks like here on Grey Areas anyway.
I see your favourite girls at Albion Park on Friday. Did you see that?
Who's that?
Miss Envy.
Oh, is she?
She's in a heat of the futurity there. She's drawn box 6. I've just got it up now. And Dacey's Rory, of course, who ran third for Tommy Savalas, who was very, very happy, by the way, upstairs, is drawn box 2 in a Queensland Derby heat. So there's a few Victorians heading up. This is where we're going to push most of our attention for the next, month or so, I suppose, Jace, with some really, really big races coming up. So at Albion Park.
What are you doing? I've got so many more questions here.
Oh, sorry. Keep going. Sorry.
Michael Jordan or LeBron?
Oh, Michael Jordan by far.
Josh Thurgood or Marby or Chol?
Thurgood.
Ben McAvoy or John Barker?
Oh, Johnny Barker. He kicked that goal in that elimination final when we beat Port Adelaide.
True Detective or Bold Trees?
True Detective.
Oh!
Would kick his brains in.
Best source of mail?
For any punting, you mean?
Yeah, anything that comes through that's got a pretty good track record.
I tell you who's really good, Tommy Savalas.
Is he? The Prince?
He is a star. I had a beer with him the night before the Phoenix. We don't usually do this, but we did. And I tipped him one at Geelong and didn't realise that he originally trained it. So he looked at me like an idiot, and then it ended up winning, and he cleaned up. Absolutely.
So he liked it
up.
as well.
Yeah. He's a star. He's a very good punter.
If you're in the right lane on the freeway, what speed are you doing?
115.
Macca's or KFC?
Macca's.
Pizza or fish and chips?
Definitely pizza.
Which greyhound would you compare yourself to on a night out?
Would have to be a short-legged 311-metre Cranbourne runner. Oh, jeez.
That goes around every week.
Oh, no, I'd need a spell. Probably every fortnight.
You've got one of the best man caves in Australia. What is your favourite piece of memorabilia?
The 1983 WEG poster when we smashed Essendon.
WEG, what an icon. Your most useless purchase?
I bought this thing from Temu that was supposed to clean my Weber grill, and the measurements were completely wrong. It wouldn't even fit a saucepan in it.
The worst part about doing grey areas?
When all the sushi's gone in the cafe afterwards, because Bensley and Co get to it before me.
Based on your skill sets as a youngster, which pro sport could you be playing?
Tennis was. I actually played against Dan Molecular a few times and kicked his brains in as well. Is he gone? Thank God. Yeah, played against him.
So is Malta a part of the Davis Cup?
No. The Nets got burnt one year when we lost to Slovakia.
The last Cox Plate you missed?
Winks' first one because my sister got married and I'm still angry at her for getting married on a spring carnival day. Your secret to losing 12 kilos? I did the Tony Lockett diet and didn't eat a little bit of sugar. And Craig, obviously our producer, put me onto Hard Solo Zero Sugar. Yeah. 5-day draw in a test match or an epic one-dayer? 5-day draw. Yep. Place bet or trifecta? Place bet. Was Jeff Kennett better for Victoria or the Hawthorn Footy Club? Oh, God. Probably for our state, yeah. Your strongest memory of Waverley Park? Having a car accident driving there when we won the Ansett Cup against Port Adelaide. It was wet and I think I don't know what I was doing. Your strongest memory at Olympic Park Dogs? My dad used to handle a dog called Farmer George who broke the track record there, and he was a very fast dog, so jumping in one of those photos was fantastic. Was your debut on radio with RSN or 3UZ? RSN with Marg Long. Yep. What was your show called? I used to listen to it when I was 18. Oh, then I had a show with Tester and Nadia Horn, I remember. I forget what it was called. But the theme song was Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. Fantastic. Need to bring that back. Chocolate or lollies? Lollies. MCG or Marvel? Oh, my God, Jason. That's the worst of all questions. MCG by a country mile. How can you say that? Now, lastly, it's not all that serious, and I don't expect to give me an answer, but one position that you've been put in multiple times over the years. Lastly, give us your top 10 trainers in Australia and top 20 dogs with less than 30 starts. Now, go. No, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. An ex-worker here that used to put me in the spot all the time. All right. That's all I've got. What are you doing tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow? Oh, sorry. Mum and Dad's. We always have a big party there, and then we got to go to Cheryl's family as well. So a big one. Boxing Day, 40 degrees. What a sporting day, especially if the Sale Cup goes through. And then I'm off to the cricket, mate, on the 27th. What are you doing? The 27th. So what? You're not here on Friday? No, I gave you notice for that, remember? Well, now we're giving the audience notice. Yeah. I think Corey's jumping in, is he? Yeah. He is. Okay. Pending Sale doesn't get moved. We'll see what happens there. I got some tips, Jace, quickly for Sale. Well, we've been busy with some more important things. So I'll go through them really quickly. Yeah, race 6, number 1, Nangar Gym. Race 8, number 1, Kenya All Class. Race 6, number 1, Nangar Gym. And there's one more. No, that was it, sorry. They're the two. 6, 1, 8, 1. Outstanding, mate. You've been an absolute gem of this show since it kicked off in what was the first week of September or something like that. So thanks for your works. It's an absolute pleasure to work with you. Merry Christmas. Same here, mate. Same to you. And of course, to all the listeners, whether you've chimed in at some point or not, as long as you enjoyed the show, that's all I care about. So thank you for all your support. Enjoy the best of what Greyhound Racing has to offer over the next week, and we'll be back, or I'll be back at least on Friday from midday with Grey Areas with Corey Smith. Who knows what mood he'll be in with Kenya All Class in the Sale Cup on Thursday night. But enjoy the rest of your Christmas Eve. Make sure you get looked after by Santa. Stay safe, most importantly, and enjoy the Sale Cup on Boxing Day night.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what could get a beat today